Hi everybody, good morning. Beautiful morning here in the UK, and happy equinox to you. Today I'd like to talk to you about crying, how crying is good for you, good for your soul. So there are many people, myself included, up until a little while ago, that find it very, very hard to cry. You may have been told as a child, don't you start crying, I'll give you something to cry for, or oh, don't turn on the waterworks, and crying was very much frowned upon. So as we grow up, some of you, some of us, think of crying as a weakness, and also can think of crying as it making you vulnerable, when in actual fact it is so good for you. So a little bit about me, and you may recognise yourself in what I've got to say. So as I grew up, having been told, don't you cry, I'll give you something to cry for. Not a should I say, not a physical threat or anything like that. It was just very frowned upon, as I said, and grew up with the into the habit of I mustn't cry because it's weak. So throughout my life, anything that happened to me that really upset me, sometimes it would come out in tears, but not very often. Quite often I would push it down and down and down, and a lot of people do that. Some people do that because they think that if they cry, they're going to lose the plot, and that's it, they're going to go, and they've just got to knuckle down and carry on. And some people will very much be a sounding board for other people. People may come to them as a shoulder to lean on, or to to cry on, and you are strong in supporting them, and they can cry and go away very happy, and you're just there, and you just get on with it, despite whatever problems you may have. Through life, this inability to cry becomes a problem, because then you end up pushing things down and not allowing them to move past your throat chakra. So if you imagine your body as a river of energy, as you refuse to cry and push things back down, no matter why it is, your throat chakra becomes more and more blocked. And when your throat chakra is blocked, that can cause all sorts of problems. It can cause physical problems, it can cause mental problems, and as well as that, it can make you feel rubbish, absolute rubbish. So a very good friend came to stay with me a couple of years ago, and he said to me, Lorraine, I'm being told by Spirit that you need to cry. Well, I had cried on and off over the years, but if I was totally honest, it wasn't much. I was always one who pushed it down, and just carried on. And even when we're watching a sad film, or a film with a sad ending, my husband would sit there blubbering away like a good one. And I would maybe have a little tiny tear, and that was it. I'd feel my throat tighten up, but that was all. So I knew my friend was right. Yeah, I did need to cry. I didn't know what I needed to cry about, but yes, I got the impression that I did need to cry, and I knew I had blockage here in my throat centre. The blockage stops you speaking your truth. That's another thing the blockage can do. And there's loads more things, but at the moment it won't come to my mind. Anyway, getting back to the gist of this video. So he said to me, you need to cry. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that, knowing that I probably wouldn't, because I don't. Or should I say, I didn't. About 2 months after that, I was house and pet sitting for one of my family. And I got up in the morning, had breakfast, and thought, right, I'll do my morning meditation. And I started off doing my mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, which I'm very fond of. And then I thought to myself, I'm struggling with this. It just wasn't flowing properly. So I sat there and I thought, whoa, what's happening? What's happening? And then I suddenly got the sense that I needed to cry. So it was like, okay, I felt this so strongly, despite what my friend had told me, and I agreed, I felt it so strongly within myself. So I thought, yeah, okay, I'll cry. And I sat there, and I sat there, and I sat there, and then all of a sudden it struck me, I didn't know how to cry. I just didn't. How do you make yourself cry? I've got absolutely no idea. Through years and years of putting on a brave face and hiding behind a mask, I'd got no idea how to do this. So I, as I say, I was sitting all on my own, and why didn't I know how to cry? Because number one, I've been brought up with the thought that it was a weakness. Number two, it made me feel vulnerable, and I didn't like that at all. And number three, it also felt like if I cried, I wasn't in control. And there are some things that you need to be in control of. My emotions were one of them. Anyway, after wondering how the hell am I going to make myself cry, I remember sitting there and thinking, sending a thought up to Mum and Dad who had passed away, my angels, my guides, whoever, you name it. I sent a thought up to them, and I said to them, like, please, please, can you help me do this? I know I need to do this. So I sat there and I relaxed and I closed my eyes. And I became aware of my mum. Now, I'm very lucky, I know I am, because I am aware of my mum and my dad, you know, and some of my family have passed away. I am aware of them when they draw close. So I was aware of her. And I heard her say, yeah, we're going to help you do this. So I was impressed to think of something sad. My mind was going all over the place. What am I going to think of? What am I going to think of? And then a memory came to me. It was a memory of Mum being in a nursing home having palliative care. That came to me. And I felt some of the emotion here. And then all of a sudden, in my mind, I was taken to a time when I had to go into hospital after having a miscarriage. And yes, the miscarriage was upsetting, and I did cry. But I remember that night in the hospital being all by myself. And the emotion of that actually was so much. That started all flowing out of me in the form of tears. And then it changed. It changed to a time when I was little, very little. And somebody said something to me at school. I can't remember what it was, but again, the emotion flowed through me and out in the form of tears. My memory changed quite a few times over the years, and things came out that had made me emotional that possibly wouldn't have made anyone else emotional, but they were big things to me. They were small things, but they were big things to me, and that was everything I'd held in throughout my whole life here. And I suddenly realised that as I was crying, it was anything and everything that had upset me was suddenly coming out. And I cried solidly for about 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden it stopped. It was as though someone had pressed a stop button, but it just stopped. I felt a bit silly, but I was on my own, so it didn't matter. And then I just basically wiped my face over and whatnot and got on with my day. Anyway, a little while after that, maybe a month or so, I was mucking around in the bathroom with one of my family, and they said something, just mucking about, but it got to me here, and all of a sudden the tears flowed, and I shut the bathroom door, so I was on my own, and I'm thinking, oh my God, why am I crying? It was something and nothing. After a while, the tears stopped. And about a week or so after that, something else happened. Something little, didn't mean anything, but all of a sudden I was crying again. I was on my own. I was on my own, but I can't actually remember what it was now. And I started crying again. And I suddenly realised after that, because I had released everything in me that I'd kept down here, no matter how big or small it was, now when things upset me, I could cry and allow that energy and that emotion to move right the way through me and out. Within doing that, I had cleared my throat blockage, which was wonderful, because within doing that, I then found that I was learning to speak my truth more, because within holding your emotions back, you actually stopping yourself speaking your truth. And I could speak my truth more. I felt lighter in energy. I felt, I just felt better. I felt better in all ways. But it then struck me that I had to learn how to cry in order to do that. So crying, I realised, was not a weakness. It wasn't going to make me vulnerable. It was actually very, very good for me. And this is why I want to bring this video to you. The reason why we push everything down can happen for all different ways. It can be to do with the way we were brought up. It can be to do with our lives, what we have to deal with. It can be to do with the fact that there's no one else to do things for you and you just have to carry on. All sorts of reasons. But the fact of the matter is, man or woman, boy or girl, we all need to cry, and we all need to let these things out. So a couple of little tips I'd like to give you if you struggle with crying. Number one, don't chastise yourself for any emotions you have. If you feel the energy coming up here and you want to release it and you can't, make time for yourself to sit on your own. Ask your loved ones to draw close to you, your angels, whoever, your higher self, whoever you want to call upon, and ask them to help to bring memories to you, to help to open this up so that you can release it. Because within allowing that emotion to work through you, you can then move on to the next part of your journey. Think of something that is going to bring those emotions to you. It doesn't even matter if it's not real. You can use your imagination. You can put a sad film on if that works for you. It didn't for me. But I tell you what did work for me. Sometimes I'd be listening to music on videos on YouTube, and there'd be certain musics that were so beautiful that when I heard them, the tears used to stream down my face. So it doesn't matter how you cry, how you make yourself cry in a positive way, as long as you do. We, in this process of going through life, we have to learn to be like children again. We have to learn that if something upsets us, it's all right to cry. We have to learn that if we want to scream and shout and allow the tears, we can do that. Because within allowing our emotions to come out and acknowledge them, we are allowing us to be us, and we are taking off that mask, and we are allowing our energies to flow. I realise now how important it was for me to learn that, because I was never going to move forward on my pathway. All the time I had this emotions blocking my throat energy. Sooner or later, every time we push something away, sooner or later it comes back to acknowledge us. For us to acknowledge it. And it is so important. So make time for yourself. Give yourself time to cry. Don't belittle yourself. Accept your emotions. Because how can we ask other people or expect other people to accept us if we don't accept ourselves? Accept your emotions and all that comes with it. Have a cry party. Invite friends round and sit there and have a cry party. It sounds stupid. Would I do it? Before I cried, I wouldn't have done, but I don't know. I might do that now. There are so many things that I would do now that I never did before. And crying is one of them. Release the tears and let them flow so that your energy can then flow. It's a wonderful feeling afterwards. Yes, you might feel a bit rubbish, but anything that needs to be released is not going to cause more problems as you do it. Okay? That's another thing that I feel is really important to say. If as you release, things come up to be ready to release, it is because you are done with them. You are done with them in here. So set yourself that special time for you. I hope this helps you, from a person who couldn't cry, who's now learnt to cry. Doesn't matter what you think of to make you do that. Yeah. Accept it. It's all part of self-acceptance. It moves you on to the next part of your journey. Getting rid of what you don't need to carry anymore. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to tell you. I can't quite remember. If there is, I'll do another video. I'll see you again. Have a wonderful day. Grab a box of tissues, handkerchief, an old rag, whatever you want, and go for it. God bless you all.